This is my mock draft full of picks that I want to happen. This is what, if I could script an NFL draft, if I could say this is exactly what I want to happen, this is what would happen. This is what I'm rooting for as a football fan. The first overall pick in the NFL draft on Thursday, April 26th, I sincerely hope the New England Patriots trade up anything and everything it takes to go and draft Sam Darnold. I really, really want to see the Patriots draft Sam Darnold. I don't care if it takes 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, maybe some fourth, whatever it takes. I want to see the New England Patriots draft Sam Darnold number 1 overall. I think it's possible. I think they have the resources and the chess pieces to make it happen, and I would love to see that. I love Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is my favorite quarterback in this year's NFL draft. I met him once. I want Sam Darnold to succeed. I think the best way for that to happen is to send Sam Darnold to New England. Let him sit behind Tom Brady for 1, 2, 3 years. And it's funny, I keep telling myself that I believe in Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady's 40 years old. He lost his left tackle. Tom Brady lost his right tackle. He lost his 2 favorite. He lost Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola. He lost his running back. What it feels like to me is that the Patriots have stopped trying to win with Tom Brady. It's like they've moved on. They're trying. They have a different goal now. And I'll be honest, I'm more of a Bill Belichick fan than I am a Tom Brady fan. I really want to see Tom Brady succeed without Bill. I want to see Bill Belichick succeed without Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is going to retire very soon, and I want to see Bill Belichick continue that success. I want to see Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. I was crushed when the Patriots traded away Jimmy Garoppolo. I know I have a big fan base that's 49ers fans. I was sad. I wanted to see Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl with Garoppolo. We'll never see that now. But maybe we can see Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. That sounds fun. That sounds interesting. So with the second overall pick, I want and I believe the Bills are going to trade up for Baker Mayfield. Why Baker Mayfield? Why not Josh Rosen? I believe Baker Mayfield is the second coming of Doug Flutie. I could see that happening. I think that'd just be fun to cover if Baker Mayfield went to the Buffalo Bills and was just like Doug Flutie, running around, making stuff happen, making plays happen. That sounds fun to me. Now, the question is, why would the Giants trade out of the number 2 overall pick? Why would the Giants give up on Josh Rosen? And why would it's interesting. There's a report that the Giants only like Sam Darnold rather than Josh Rosen. Now, I think this could be manipulation. I don't 100% buy this story. I think that it's possible the Giants are just manipulating the Browns into not picking Josh Rosen so that the Giants can pick Josh Rosen with the number 2 overall pick. However, for this crazy fantasy land of mine that I've created that is this mock draft, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to say, oh, hey, maybe the Giants do indeed actually not like Josh Rosen. Maybe they trade out of the number 2 overall pick. So in my crazy fantasy land, I want the Buffalo Bills to get Baker Mayfield. That sounds fun, and it would give me a reason to finally watch the Buffalo Bills. I'm honestly more interested in watching Baker Mayfield early on than I am Josh Rosen. I think with a 3rd overall pick, the Jets would come in, they'd swoop in, they would draft Josh Rosen. I think it's really Josh Rosen or Josh Allen. I think the thing is that Josh Rosen is ready to play now, and the Jets need someone who's ready to play now. I feel bad for my friends who are Jets fans, and their team is awful, and they've been awful for years. Now, the Browns are interesting. I think the Browns would have the 4th overall pick in this scenario. I think the Browns would go ahead and draft Josh Allen, the quarterback from Wyoming. If the Browns do not get Sam Darnold, if the Browns do not get Sam Darnold, I want the Browns to then draft Josh Allen. Here's why. I like Josh Allen. I think his big frame, his arm strength, that works in the windy, snowy, horrible climate that is Cleveland. Another benefit to Cleveland for Josh Allen is that Cleveland has a quarterback already. They already have Tyrod Taylor. The Browns honestly could afford to not let Josh Allen take a single snap next season. They could let Josh Allen sit, wait, and learn, and I like that idea. I do not believe that Josh Allen is ready to go immediately day 1 next year. Now, with the 5th overall pick in this scenario, I want the Broncos to draft the defensive end Bradley Chubb. The top 4 quarterbacks are gone. They're not going to get Allen or Mayfield or Rosen or Darnold. And the Broncos would have Case Keenum. The Broncos do have Case Keenum, and that's okay. Case Keenum's not amazing, but here's the thing. Here's why the Broncos would choose Bradley Chubb over Saquon Barkley. See, I believe that Case Keenum is an average quarterback at best. And the way you make up for having an average quarterback is that you have an incredible defense. Let's be honest. If the Broncos only gave up 10 points, if they averaged only giving up 10 points all year, they could take Case Keenum a long, long way. If the pressure is completely off Case Keenum, because the Broncos defense is just annihilating people, Case Keenum can rest easy. He can just do his job. He's not going to have a bunch of turnovers. He's not going to make big mistakes. If you can have the defense take care of things and then let Case Keenum do work, we could see a team like the Ray Lewis Ravens that took Trent Dilfer to a Super Bowl. I think that actually could happen. If you can keep your defense good enough. Because remember, don't forget, the Broncos have incredible defensive personnel. I think Bradley Chubb would mix in very, very well with the Broncos. Now the Colts, here's what I want the Indianapolis Colts to do. The Colts have the 6th overall pick. I want the Indianapolis Colts to draft the interior guard Quenton Nelson from Notre Dame. I know that's a boring pick. Everyone would rather the Colts draft Saquon Barkley. Here's the thing. The Colts' offensive line is awful. It is terrible. It's the worst. Andrew Luck isn't throwing still. Still, Andrew Luck is not throwing a football. It's possible the Colts completely ruined Andrew Luck's career because they did not get him an offensive line. Well, now is your chance. If you're ever going to get Andrew Luck an offensive line, do it now. Start by drafting Quenton Nelson. And let's be honest, why would the Colts draft Saquon Barkley when they don't have an offensive line in place? What use is a running back without an offensive line? There's not much. There really isn't. You know why Ezekiel Elliott is dominating with the Cowboys? Ezekiel Elliott's a good running back. But do not forget that his offensive line is unbelievable. So I want the Colts to be disciplined, and I want the Colts to draft their biggest need, which is offensive line. I want the Colts to draft Quenton Nelson from Notre Dame. Now, with the 7th overall pick, I want the Buccaneers to draft Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, this is the most unrealistic pick on this entire mock draft. Because I think, honestly, if the Buccaneers had a chance to draft Saquon Barkley with the 7th overall pick, they would 100% take it. But I would rather see Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky, and the Chicago Bears have a weapon like Saquon Barkley. I like what the Bears are doing, so I want the Bears to pick Saquon Barkley with the 8th overall pick. I want the Buccaneers to pick Minkah Fitzpatrick with the 7th overall pick. Again, I think both Minkah Fitzpatrick and Saquon Barkley are both stars in the NFL. I just want to see Saquon and Trubisky match up. I want to see them together. I would rather see Saquon and Trubisky than Saquon and Jameis Winston. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because this mock draft is all about wishful thinking. This is not realistic. This is what I want to happen. That leads me to the San Francisco 49ers. See, I believe the responsible thing for the 49ers to do in this NFL draft is to draft defense. They're probably going to draft Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker from, I believe, Virginia Tech. I should know that better. But here's the thing. I really want, is that my new catchphrase? Here's the thing. I've been saying that a lot. I want the San Francisco 49ers to draft Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver from Alabama. It's very selfish of me. I'm going to watch every single snap that Jimmy Garoppolo plays for the next couple of years. I'm invested in Jimmy Garoppolo. So I want to see Jimmy Garoppolo have a premier receiver. That sounds like a lot of fun. This is a weak wide receiver draft, and Calvin Ridley is the only receiver in the top couple rounds that I would draft early on. And I got to stop saying that. When I think of Alabama wide receivers, I think of Julio Jones. That's a guy, he's a guy I would draft early in the draft. Julio Jones is not just a special athlete. Julio Jones has a special pro-level work ethic. He's legendary Julio Jones has a legendary work ethic. Now, I don't know anything about Calvin Ridley off the field. I don't know if he has a great work ethic. But I do know that Calvin Ridley chose to go to Alabama. In 2015, when I graduated high school, Calvin Ridley was in my recruiting class. Calvin Ridley was the number 1 wide receiver in the nation. He could go wherever he wanted, and yet Calvin Ridley, he did not choose USC. He did not choose Florida State. He didn't choose to go party at Arizona State. Calvin Ridley chose to go to Alabama, which I think was a very business-like decision. Everybody knows what they're getting into when they go to Alabama. Alabama is going to beat the snot out of you for your entire time there. That is a guy who clearly has a good work ethic. He wants to be challenged, and he, I believe, has an NFL-ready work ethic simply because he chose to go to Alabama rather than every other school he had the option to attend. I sincerely, truly hope, because I want to see Jimmy Garoppolo work with this guy, I want to see the 49ers draft Calvin Ridley with the number 9 overall pick. Now, with the 10th overall pick, I believe the Raiders, and what I want to do, I want the Raiders to draft Denzel Ward. The Raiders, Denzel Ward is an outstanding defensive back, a corner from Ohio State. And the Raiders secondary was absolute garbage last year. If you don't know, that's a football sports jargon term. Secondary is the group of safeties and corners. It's all lumped together. The Raiders pass defense was absolutely awful last year. They were terrible. They were horrendous. And I believe Denzel Ward could be the beginning of fixing the problem with the Raiders' pass defense. He makes them better right away. He can step on the field and start day one. I like Denzel Ward with the Raiders. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this show as much as I do, help me grow by telling your friends about this show. That's a crime. It rhymes. I know. Move on. Share with your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow by telling your friends. And if you really like this podcast, subscribe to it on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube.